As AI agents get more and more access to our most sensitive systems, security is no longer just important, it's absolutely crucial. So in this explainer, we're going to dive deep into how we make sure that when an AI acts for us, it's got the right permissions and it's doing it securely. Let's get right into it. I want you to imagine this for a second. An AI agent can move money from your bank account, approve a big customer refund, or even deploy new code to production. I mean, the stakes are incredibly high, right? We have to know without a doubt who is making the request and what they're actually allowed to do. This isn't just some technical detail, it's the very core of how we build AI systems we can actually trust. So to tackle this big problem, we really lean on two main pillars. First up is authentication, which is all about identity, proving who you are. And then there's authorization, which is about permissions. What are you allowed to do now that we know who you are? Every single request an AI makes has to pass both of these checks, no exceptions. Okay, so let's take a little trip back in time. In the early days, the simplest way to handle this was with something called an API key. You can just think of it as a simple password that an application uses to get access to a system. Super easy to set up, and you know what? It works just fine for a quick prototype or a little demo on your own machine. But, and this is a big but, here's the problem. An API key is kind of like a permanent master key to your entire building. It never expires. It grants access to absolutely everything, and that makes it incredibly high risk. I mean, if that key leaks, whoever finds it can do everything. There's no way to limit its power. It's a pain to replace, and it lasts forever. That is just not a great recipe for secure systems. So thankfully, the industry moved to a much more robust and secure standard. Let's talk about the new way. OAuth. You've probably used it 100 times without even realizing it. It's the same technology that secures everything from your Google login to connecting all your different apps together. OAuth 2.1 is the modern standard, and its core idea is actually really simple but so powerful. Instead of having one permanent, all-powerful key, it uses temporary tokens that have very specific limited permissions. We're basically trading in that clunky old master key for something way smarter. And this is the perfect way to think about it. An API key is that master key that opens every single door, forever. An OAuth token, well, that's like your hotel key card. It only opens your room, and it only works for the duration of your stay. The moment you check out, that card is useless. It's a beautiful example of what we call the principle of least privilege in action. Okay, so theory is great, but how does this whole thing actually work in practice to keep an AI agent secure? Well, it's kind of like a multi-step dance between the app you're using, a trusted authorization server, and the AI server that the app wants to talk to. Let's just walk through the flow step by step. So you, the user, ask your app to do something. The app then sends you over to a trusted login page. Think of your company's single sign-on page. You log in, you grant permission, then the server gives your app a special temporary code. The app takes that code and behind the scenes exchanges it for the actual access token, our hotel key card. From that point on, it uses that token to make secure requests for you. But wait a minute, there's a catch. That step where the app exchanges the code for a token, that usually requires a secret password to prove the app is legit. So what about desktop or mobile apps? We call them public clients, and it means they can't safely store a permanent secret. I mean, anyone could just decompile the app and find it. So how do we solve that puzzle? Well, the solution is this really elegant extension to OAuth called PKCE. It stands for Proof Key for Code Exchange. It was designed specifically for this exact problem, and it's so important that it's now a required part of the modern OAuth 2.1 standard for all clients. The best way to understand this is to think of PKCE as a one-time secret handshake. The app makes up a secret at the very start of the login process, and then at the very end, it has to prove it still knows that secret. So an attacker who might steal the authorization code in the middle of a flow, they won't know the secret handshake, so they can't get that final precious access token. It's brilliant, really. Top-notch security without needing a stored password. Okay, so our app can now get a token securely. Awesome. But in a world with tons of different AI services, how does the app even know where to go to log in? Or what security rules the AI server expects it to follow? We can't just hard-code all that information into the app. It would be a nightmare to maintain. And the answer is something called metadata discovery. Basically, servers publish a machine-readable document at a standard, well-known web address. This file is like a digital instruction manual. telling any client exactly how to communicate with it, where the login server is, what kind of tokens it likes, and where to find its security keys. This allows the whole system to pretty much configure itself. Pretty cool, huh? All right, let's move on to the next critical step. The client now has a token, and it presents it to the AI server. Now, the server has a super important job. It has to validate that this token is real, that it hasn't been messed with, and that it actually comes from a source it trusts. So, most modern access tokens are in a format called a JWT, or JSON Web Token. And JWTs are fantastic because they're a completely self-contained package. Inside, they carry all the info or claims about who the user is, what their permissions are, when the token expires, and the whole thing is cryptographically signed to make sure nobody can tamper with it. Now, it might look a little technical, but a JWT really just has three parts, separated by dots. You've got the header, which describes the technical stuff. Then there's the payload, that's the juicy part with all the information, who the user is, who issued the token, and what it's for. And finally, you have the signature, which is the mathematical proof that the token is legit and that the payload hasn't been changed. So whenever a server gets a JWT, it has to run through a very strict checklist. No shortcuts. First, it verifies the signature to make sure it's authentic. Then, it checks the expiration date to make sure it's not stale. It confirms it came from a trusted issuer and was meant for this specific server, that's the audience. And finally, it checks that the token actually contains the necessary permissions, or scope, for the action it's trying to perform. Okay, we've completed authentication. The server validated the token, it knows who is making the request. But you know what? That's only half the battle. Now we have to move to authorization, which answers a totally different question. Is this person actually allowed to do the specific thing they're asking to do? And this is where something called role-based access control, or RBAC, comes into play. This is the system that connects the dots between a user's role and what they can do. For example, a user with a reader role might only be allowed to view data, while someone who's an editor can both read and write data. The server enforces these business-level rules after it's validated the token. So, wow, we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? Let's just take a step back and see how all these different pieces, discovery, PKCE, JWTs, and RBAC, all fit together to form one single, cohesive, and secure system. And here it is, the whole dance from start to finish. It all starts with discovery, where the client learns the rules of the road. It might then dynamically register itself. Then you, the user, authorize the app using that secure PKCE flow to get a token. The client uses that JWT to make a request, and finally, the server validates the token and enforces the permissions. Every single step is designed for both security and scalability. So what's the big takeaway here? What does all this get us? Well, this modern approach gives us a system that is auditable, it's scalable, and it's built on that core principle of least privilege. Every action can be traced back to a person, new AI services can plug in automatically, and access is always limited to only what is absolutely necessary for the job. You know, these standards give us a really powerful and flexible foundation for the AI tools we have today. But as these agents become even more autonomous, even more powerful, it leaves us with a final question to chew on. Is the security framework we have now truly ready for the AI of tomorrow? That's a question we're all going to be working together to answer. Thanks for watching.